Today, a new view into the frustration, even anger, that Republicans are up against as they amass millions and millions of dollars for next year's midterm fight. In a rare in-person town hall by a Republican member of Congress, Wisconsin's Bryan Steil was repeatedly booed and interrupted by voters, giving him an earful on everything from Trump's tariffs to immigration policy to the signature spending bill they think is anything but big and beautiful.
One of the biggest improvements that we have seen is the success in securing the U.S.-Mexico border. We can just keep it down a little bit so people can hear. That's going to be helpful. And making sure that we're supporting, making sure that we're supporting. We need to have very pro-growth tax policies. That was part of the reforms that were just signed into law. We need to have energy policies that unleash American energy rather than restrict it.
In the face of that pushback, two Republican billionaires, frenemies Donald Trump and Elon Musk, are building a war chest, each their own war chest, for the fight. The president raising $177 million in just the first half of 2025. And Musk may be gone from the White House, but he is still giving big bucks to Republican super PACs ahead of 2026. But how far can money go against growing voter discontent? Joining us now, Matthew Dowd, Chief Strategist for the Bush-Cheney 2004 presidential campaign and MSNBC political contributor. Peter Baker is back with us. Matthew, when you see what happened at that town hall, and first of all, it makes you understand why Republican leadership is saying don't do them in person. This particular member of Congress had been doing them every month, but virtually. Can money answer just how ticked off a lot of Republicans are right now?
The short answer is no. Interesting thing about politics, I mean, the loss heap of history of people that outspent their opponents by large amounts in bad situations is huge. You can't overcome a horrible situation you face electorally with money. It's just not possible. If the situation is a 50-50 situation or a 51-49 situation, then money can be a determinant in this. I often describe politics like tectonic plates. And if the tectonic plates are shifting and there's earthquakes going to happen in the course of politics, which it looks like 2026 may be another earthquake year, like 2018 or like 2010 when the Republicans took control of the House in a big move. You can't overcome it by, amounts of money that you can't overcome an earthquake by, reinforcing your windows or whatever in this. The earthquake will just decimate the political landscape in this. And so this is a situation in many respects Republicans have brought on by themselves. It's a midterm year, which is normally bad, which, Republicans have no control over that. There's an unpopular president, very unpopular president, and that normally spells bad trouble in this. There's an unpopular party with the Republican parties, and they're trying to push a very unpopular bill, this tax bill that the president and the Republicans passed. All of that is unpopular. And so I think they can raise and spend as much money as possible. But if the landscape looks like it does today in November of 2026, money's not going to be the answer.
Yeah, it is a lot of money, Peter. $177 million is pretty massive, actually, at this stage before a midterm. And so you'd think Republicans would be celebrating, but there are plenty of nervous Republicans who are wondering how much of that might actually go to midterm candidates and whether those candidates could be handpicked challengers to an incumbent that Donald Trump doesn't like. Are they right to have concerns?
Well, look, yeah, he has shown time and time again he's willing to dive into primaries and pick winners and losers in order to enforce loyalty to his agenda. That's been one of the ways he has exercised power in these 2 terms in office by making clear that those who stray from the fold risk losing their seats in a Republican primary, or at least certainly being challenged. And I think that, we don't know how much he's going to play in the Republican primaries at this point. Most Republicans in the Congress have been sticking close to him, towing the line, being on his side. And so maybe he won't go after that many if he does. But this is an important message to them. Stay loyal don't drift away. Criticism is not welcome. Now, we'll see. Matt knows more about this than I do. Money is important, but as he says, it's not the most important thing. You have an unpopular president. I thought something that Matt said was really important. We forget, because Donald Trump is so dominant in the national conversation, we forget just how unpopular he is. The most recent Gallup poll put him at 37%. That is historically low. Not low, but really disastrous. Any other president I covered would have been crushed to be at 37%. It would have been seen as a sign of weakness, and people would be reacting to that. What's striking, of course, is that Republicans are not abandoning him despite that unpopularity, because he does have such a grip over the party loyalists and the party core voters. But that's a very low number. The flip side is the best number for the Republicans I've seen recently showed that Democrats are at a historic high for disapproval, right? People, according to the Wall Street Journal poll, about 2/3 of Americans don't feel all that good about Democrats, but they're still competitive in the head-to-head. I think that poll showed them about 3 points up over Republicans in a hypothetical matchup for the midterms next year.
So, Matthew, Congressman Steil, who was taking all that heat, won his seat by more than 10 points in 2024 in a safe Republican district. Yet, here are some of the comments he was faced with about his own future.
Are you going to run for governor for the state of Wisconsin?
That's an easy answer. No, I'll be. It's hard to hear. I said no. I'm going to be running for re-election to the House.
I will be out there working hard if you choose to run for any office.
Very good.
Thank you.
I don't think you're the right fit for us anymore.
Republican leaders have made a lot of arguments, right? Why don't do town halls? These are Democratic plans. These people didn't vote for us in the first place. They're not from my district. If you're the person standing there on that stage, is that something you can count on, that these folks are largely either ineligible to vote in your district or we're never going to vote for you anyway, especially under the circumstances that we just talked about, that Donald Trump isn't very popular right now?
Well, town halls are anecdotal data, but anecdotal data matters when it's combined with real data, which is polling data in the course of this. And this reminds me a lot of what happened in 2010 in Democratic town hall meetings. And Democrats tried to say the same thing. These are Republicans showing up. They're upset and all of that. But what I think those town halls reflect is, one, the enthusiasm gap advantage that Democrats have in this election over Republicans. And it's the Republicans' enthusiasm has dropped precipitously over the last 6 months. Much of it has to do with the economy, but some of it has to do with Epstein, and Republicans upset about that. They won't shift their vote, in my view, but they may just not vote in the course of this. And so if I were a Republican going out there, I would look at that and say, this is a sign that Republicans are not near as enthusiastic as Democrats who are showing up. And I would also look back at a little history, as I said. And in 2010, the same dynamic happened to Democrats. And on Election Day, the Republicans showed up and Democrats didn't. And it was a bad day for Democrats.
I'd say a very bad day for Democrats. Matthew Dowd, Peter Baker, always good to have you both here.